Man, I guess you consider yourself virtual remote, right, at your job. Is that fair to say? You're a sales guy, so they're on the road /remote.
Yeah, 100%. I never go to an office, so it's fair.
So, like, you guys don't do like a Christmas party?
We do not.
Okay.
No. Do you? Because you're fully remote too.
We do not. Now, I don't know if the Orlando office does, because I'm over in New Smyrna Beach, which is an hour away east. I don't know anybody at our Orlando office, so that doesn't matter, even for the Christmas party.
Crash the party, dude.
I've looked it up. It's like a lot of, Orlando's a very diverse ethnicity area, right? There's the Eaton office is the same, right? Like there's not a lot of white males there, right? Like there usually is at most Eaton offices. You know what I mean? Like, so they're kind of all over the place. But anyway, I wouldn't know anybody there anyway. But yeah, I would crash the party. I don't know how fun they would be. But yeah, I know that the one in Raleigh, the office in Raleigh, they do one. The guy who hired me told me that they do it. But yeah,
okay.
But Sarah also has one. They do one for the hospital, basically.
Yes.
And they could. Yeah. Is it the whole emergency department? I don't know. Anyway, I've gone the last couple of years to the Christmas party. And it's. I think your first drink is free, but the rest is cash bar. How lame is that?
That's weak. Well, get this. So I was at a hospital, one that you work with, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, we got our Christmas party. And it's like December 10th or something, which I'm like, that kind of sucks too, having it that early. But they're going to a brewery. I'm like, fuck yeah, dude. Sweet. They cannot drink alcohol because they're technically on work hours.
What?
Yes.
They're going...
I know, right? It's laughable.
It's like going to a baseball game, but you can't watch the game.
I'm with you, man. Like, why are we having it at a fucking brewery? You can't even drink alcohol. Like,
what are they going to do? So, can they have food?
They can eat food. Yes, they're allowed to eat food.
That's good. During work hours. Well, isn't a hospital always during work hours?
I mean, obviously, Sarah's place is doing it, so I don't know what weird fucking rules they exist under, but no fun rules, apparently.
That is some no fun rules.
Like, punishment, too. Like, we're going to surround you with beer smells. Exactly. You're not going to be able to drink it.
Would you like to take the tour as well? You know what I mean? Like, that's pretty wild. That's a good story. Anyway, facts, lies, one truth. Two Joes want to be pros. Ox and Meisch here. We got action URL codes. Follow us up on there. If you want to scan it, follow us up. We log every bet. Are you still staying solid on that? I've been following. You've been pretty solid.
Yeah. I've been logging all the bets. The only time I didn't, I made some live bets. Don't recommend this, children. I made some live bets while I was driving home last week, and so since I was driving, I was like, awesome. I'm not logging these, but because I was listening to the games, and I was like. So some of those was like, this team's fucking coming back.
Yep. Did you hit
them? I didn't log those. I did. That's what's funny. Fucking undefeated on my live bets while driving and not watching. I got the Seahawks plus 12.5. They ended up winning. And then the other one was the Jaguars. I feel lucky on that one. I got them at 7.5. And they were down, like what, 20 or
they fought
17.
Back,
they fought back. Yeah. They fought back.
That was a dead money line hopeful bet that I thought might snag, but then they came back as fourth quarter in the NFL always is entertainment value, right? Usually, and it's never over in the NFL, which makes it pretty sweet. I don't know. You've seen it in picture, but you haven't seen it on the video.
There we go.
Look at you becoming a podcaster and shit. All thanks to your mom. I have to give her a shout out. Like, I can't see her. I can't. There we go.
She got me yours. One too. I didn't even know it. Fuck off on podcasting.
There you go.
Appropriate.
That's it. Yeah. You're busy for the next hour plus. Fuck off.
That is it, man.
Yeah. We got to love our moms, man. They're always supportive. But anyway, we're back. We're Alpha Thanksgiving week. We got a lot of good stuff where we were right, where we were wrong. I will say this, and we can go ahead and get into it as well. I don't know if my first where we were right counts. I'm okay with counting it as a non-bet, as in just taking it off my win column, because it was a push. Kwity Paye at a half the sack pushed. He only had a half on the sack prop. So that was tough. But if you did follow us, sometimes on the D-Kings, right, you can get a little bit of 0.25.
Yeah, so here I would, however you bet it, because some apps do it where it's a sack, and in that case, it would have lost. DK does 0.25, which it would have won. I've seen others like Hard Rock that do 0.5. So I've thought about this too with the push. I would just not even
take it off the board.
I would just wipe it instead of doing like 30, 24, and 1. It's just like that bet doesn't count.
Yeah,
that's how I would play it.
Yeah,
depending on what number you got.
That's fine. I was gonna edit. I should have edited the graphic that we're gonna put up here, but we'll just take one away. No problem. Totally think it's fair.
Is that our first push of the year? I think
that technically is for best bet.
Okay.
I don't remember. Was Chase Young a best bet? We'd have to go look. He pushed. He had a half a sack earlier this year.
Okay.
Yes.
I think that was one of the side ones, though.
I thought so, too.
That was like
But that is... I have had 2 pushes on sacks this year, believe it or not. Half sacks. Yeah, man. So, maybe, I don't know. I don't mind it. Pushes, if I had another day, you're half right, I guess.
We've talked about it before. Pushes a win. You get the entertainment value. You don't lose money,
man. Yeah, especially if it was so early in the game for Quiddy Pay. I was like, shit. I'll have. We've been talking about this. They're at least good for one more on the sack props. You know what I mean? Like Myles Garrett went for 3, and we've had other guys that go for 2. But anyway, the next one, Kirk Cousins threw 4 picks, so I was a little off.
God.
I knew he would throw a pick. I felt so good about it. I didn't know he'd throw 4. So, yeah, and there was some talk around Kirk Cousins being comeback player of the year because they might not want to give it to Joe Burrow for the second time.
Why would Joe Burrow even qualify?
Because he was injured last year.
Yep. Like the last 6 games, though.
Counts.
I don't know. I think...
No.
I want a guy coming off a fucking ACL or something big.
Let me give you... All right, let's go with that. Something big.
Okay.
Does Hamlin count?
2 years ago.
Well, last year he would. Last year he would have counted.
So there you go. Yeah, so last year he would have counted.
They're saying he probably will get it because they don't want to give it to Burrow again. Because Hamlin's playing this year.
And he's starting, too.
Yeah, he only played, a snap just for proof that he's alive last year? Yeah, that's it. Right. Sorry, I didn't mean that negatively.
I mean, I'll say it negatively. The only reason he's going to get that award is because it's a fucking story.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
I know,
I'm good. I'm glad for you, DeMar Hamlin. That's fucking awesome, man, because you looked like you were dead. Well, you did die for 30 seconds.
Yep.
So that's awesome, but it's also like, I don't like when decisions are made because it's a fucking narrative to the media.
Yep.
It's bullshit. Give it to Burrow. Like, he's killing it this year. And he doesn't deserve to score 100 points and lose 3 straight games.
No. It's kind of like the Pens, right? The not to go NHL, it's not an NHL podcast, but the Pens have had a really rough start. Sidney Crosby doesn't deserve that, right? Like, as good as he's been in his career, having a shitty ending to his career because the Pens suck doesn't deserve that, right? Joe Burrow being as good as he is, he doesn't deserve that pass defense.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, come on, man. I mean, especially with the Jamar Chase issues. I know Chase's numbers are nice because Burrow's numbers are nice, but still, like, him wanting out and shit and then dropping balls that matter at times. I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah.
But we'll move on to yours here. But, like, Kirk Cousins is the only other guy, I guess, that would kind of maybe be in there. I have no idea.
I haven't even looked at that market.
Yeah,
that's an interesting one. Offense Player of the Year. I don't even see it up right now because I've got my awards on here.
Yeah.
Usually they have that comeback Player of the Year offered on the books. Anyways,
because probably they don't even know either.
Yeah, right. Like, because they know it's just what the media wants to push.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm just happy to be back in the right column.
Yep.
Took a couple weeks off.
You did?
So
took a hiatus, but you're back.
We're back. First one, Chargers, first half money line. Got there with 3 field goals because Kirk Cousins threw 4 interceptions. That was basically it. That was because obviously one of my other bets was in this game, so I can talk more about it.
Yep.
They won the game close, won the first half close. Who cares? We got the win. Mm-hmm. I guess I'm just happy we got the win there. Bucks Panthers over 46.5. This one was scary. I don't know if you were paying attention.
I did not pay attention very much to this one, although because I was watching another game that was also very good.
Okay.
That was a 4:30. That was a 4:30 slot, 4:25, whatever. And then the Eagles Ravens was during that time slot.
Yes.
So I had to fight, right? But it was on, but I had to fight, and I saw who won. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, and I had more money on this game because I had parlayed Bucks money line too, so I
Okay.
was sweating a lot in this game. Well, Panthers missed 2 first-half field goals, and I was like, if this comes back to bite me, this is going to piss me off. And they're sitting there at 20-23, and I was like, I have to have overtime. I have to get it with like 40 seconds left. And Bucks drove down, pushed it to 23-23, and I was like, sweet. Unless they, nobody scores in overtime and it's a tie, we win.
Yep.
So, and then Bucks went down, missed a field goal, and then the Panthers got in field goal range and fumbled. And I'm just like, you gotta be fucking. And luckily, the Bucks popped off like a 40-yard run and then just kicked the field goal. So, but that was a sweat. That was a sweat. It was not like there was no rocking chair winner about that.
Yeah, dude. Because when did they kick the field goal? Was it with a minute left? 2 minutes left?
It was about 4.
Oh, okay.
Right.
All right,
so it wasn't crazy. Yeah. And then final one, Eagles +3, which was my dog play too. Couple things. One, Eagles just look really dominant running wise. If I'm guessing that's the game you watched.
Yeah.
Other thing,
I never thought they were substantially a better. I mean, they won the game. They weren't a substantially a better team than the Ravens were.
I think only in the second half. Sorry, I should say in the second half. The Ravens had so many opportunities. That was going to be the other point I made. When they were up 9-0, and Lamar Jackson had a wide open receiver and just missed him. Because I think I was back at this point. I'd gotten home. So, yeah, I felt like the Ravens kind of gave this one up. And I don't know if they lost their gas, because then it just turned in Eagles just giving it to Saquon, and he just pounded them.
Yep.
And, Ravens couldn't stop him.
I know. Well, not many people do. But, yeah, no, that's not the last we see of either one of those teams being elite. That was a classic good game. I was on the Eagles side as well. Right, I had the +3. I had the same number with it, so I was with you on that one.
Okay,
but where we were wrong, Tulsa moneyline FAU. I guess FAU kind of gets in the winning column with any temperature below 50 degrees. They absolutely beat the living shit out of Tulsa. I mean, living shit out of it. It was like 55-7 at one point. So it wasn't even close there. Weird week in college football, because a lot of teams with bowl, 5 wins, but other teams that were just playing for funsies, and it was just with fired coaches out there too. It was just kind of a weird weekend. And I was on the wrong side of a lot of it. It was bad. Worst probably weekend, at least on the college football side, I think, of the entire year. Tulsa was a flat, and then USF -3.5 also got destroyed by Rice. Also, the under wasn't even close either. So I was missing everything, man. It was pretty rough. I guess I just didn't have a good pulse, because USF's a bowl team, but I guess I just didn't care because they made it. I don't know. I guess it's kind of like how you felt the last 2 weeks, just kind of shooting blanks.
Yes.
Right.
Yep. I was going to say because you had texted me and I was like, dude, I'm very familiar with the feeling, because that's where I have been for the last couple of weeks of just like, I can't hit anything.
It was pretty rough. I mean, I even felt that, the Marshall game, I kind of spoke about it a little bit. If you believe that they'll win this game, I would go and bet them to win, because you're going to get really good value to win the conference championship. Mm-hmm. And they won in overtime, which was absolutely insane, on a reverse, believe it or not, play call, which is pretty badass. Yeah,
Ooh,
that game was sick, dude. Marshall's last 2 weeks games have been really, really good to watch and fun. Good offense, high scoring ish. So I don't know. Anyway, they're in the conference championship this weekend. But you loved the Herbert over 21.5 completions. You loved that one.
Hey, you did too, to be fair. You said it was my favorite, or your favorite bet that I had.
I know, and that's probably why I didn't hit then. There you go. We both like the same thing.
Yeah, that's usually how it works out. Yeah, I checked at halftime, and he had 11 completions, and I was like, okay, we're on pace. We're on, it's tight, but we're on pace. And so I was like, if Atlanta keeps pushing the Chargers here, they're going to have to keep throwing, and if we need a close game. So I was rooting for Atlanta to come back in the second half. But then, since I didn't get to watch this one, I went and I was reading some stuff about the game. I don't think the Chargers had a first down in the second half.
Whoa.
Dude, it was drives of like 3 yards, 6, 7, 1, and they got a pick 6 touchdown. I don't know if we can confirm that, but he only had 5 completions in the second half.
Dude,
5
that
completions.
is insane.
They just did absolutely nothing. So yeah, that's the other point I was going to make when I talked about. Here we go. into quarter 2. 4 plays, 11 yards. 3 plays, 3 yards. 4 plays, 9 yards. 4 plays, 17 yards. That's it. Those were their second half possessions.
Wow. That team is not a second half team.
They're not, man.
Holy smokes.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw in the Bengals game as well, absolutely destroying that team, and they were flat pretty much. I mean, I know McPherson missed 2 field goals for the Bengals to lose it. But yeah, gosh, that is insane. Because the Falcons, I guess you could put them in the fraud category, I would say. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Both those kind of teams were like that. Maybe just neither team's that good.
Correct.
No. I mean, Falcons look better when Kirk Cousins wasn't throwing 4 interceptions, but the last 2 games, he sucks. The team sucks.
Isn't that how Kirk Cousins always is, right? When he's not turning the ball over, he's a quality quarterback.
Yes.
He's a fair quarterback out there and sling it, but sometimes he's, kind of Jordan loving it, Brett Favre-ing it. Sorry, go with Packers there, just slinging it a little bit too much. I don't know. With that. Yep. But all right, cool. All right. So I got the graphic.
It was lost,
I lost with the under. It was under 21.5. We had over. With that, you did. Yep.
Yes.
First best bet. All right, updated graphic. I guess I'm 29 and 24. We'll get that corrected for the sack. It was a push on the Quiddy Pay sack last week, so we'll take it off the board. But you're back in the winning column, 25 and 23.
Probably negative ROI still, I guess, but at least we're in the win. At least we have a winning record.
That's right, and we'll definitely flip it even more here with this money line win coming up this weekend.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. But also I was going to say, have you changed the way that you, I guess, kind of research the games at all since you've done this more this year?
I have. So that's been interesting for me. Because I think I was talking about how I got more involved in props starting around week 4 or 5. And so that's when the research started to change. Because I'm going to be honest, when we're talking sides and totals, that's a lot of feel for me. I watch every game for one in the NFL. That is, I pretty much watch every game. And then I'm looking at spot. Are they coming off 2 emotional wins? Are they coming off 2 road trips and they have a third one? This team, it's a bounce back spot for this team, plus kind of the feel. And then what I think about the matchup, the sides and totals don't even need to try to say I'm doing all this elaborate research. I just don't have the fucking time. But the way my research changed this year was for props. Man, I got to a point where I would be spending an hour on a game. And I'll admit the last 3 weeks, I'm not doing that. My life feels fucking overloaded. But when I was hammering the props, man, so this is what I would do. I would go to both teams' games, basically, last 5 games in the ESPN app. And I would go look at what the other team is doing against them. And only the last 5 games. I didn't want to do every one. I feel like that's more relevant.
Yeah.
And I say, how are other teams attacking them? And then I go look at them offensively. What are they doing offensively? Then I go to PFF and I say, okay, player grades. If I think tight ends are killing them or number 1 receivers are killing them or slot receivers, why? Let me go look at the player grades. And so that next thing you know, it'd be an hour and I'd be on the same game. And I was like, all right, I got to move the fuck on.
Yeah, bro. I know.
Yeah, I'm sure. So basically that's how I approached when I started doing props. I've backed off a little bit now. I'm spending 20 minutes a game, simply just
right. If it's not there, it's not
where
there.
I'm at. Yeah, but I mean, how do you feel about it? Because it has changed for me.
Yeah. So, dude, I haven't really done any research on the NFL, and that's kind of been to my benefit. Maybe I don't know in the past, but similar to you, when I first started looking at this, I just think with spreads and home teams, and a lot of people like the home team in the NFL, which does not matter. I'll get to that here in a little bit. A lot of that, man, it's not a crapshoot. That's not what I'm trying to say. I just don't feel like I have an advantage when I look at some of those things when you're looking at against the spread and all of that. So yeah, the props did come into play. It's why the sack props came into play is because PFF gives you a little bit more in depth, especially when you're looking at O linemen. Nobody really knows about grades for O linemen and whatnot. So that's kind of where that came into play with the sack props is where can we attack lines that are poor pass blocking or injuries. Browns had injuries early on, right? Have gotten better, but they've had injuries early on. The Giants have had injuries early on, right? And then we have rookie quarterbacks, right? With the Caleb Williams, with the Drake May, you know what I mean? That kind of let up some sacks too. But so that's kind of where I went with that. And I think it's just kind of harder to handicap props as well. right? Like, how do you really know how many yards he's going to get against the Bears, right? How do you, like, how many passing attempts? Like, how do you really know? Like, I just think that can be tough. I mean, obviously, Vegas does a pretty good job, but I'm just saying, like, with that. Now, college-wise, that's a lot tougher. There's a lot of, not as much data out there because there's more, more teams in Division
and more
I
teams and
football. Yeah. And they're also young adults. Right, they're 18, 19, 20-year-old kids, and there is more emotions when it factors into that. So I think that's kind of where coaching and kind of some more of that kind of factors in some more. Like, like Kirby Smart, you don't want to bet him against the spread at home, right? Because he usually doesn't cover, but on the road is a lot better. I think that's where that kind of comes into play a little bit. But since there's more teams, I think I definitely do this with college basketball. I need to do this with college football. Is just pick a conference. Pick a couple conferences.
Yeah,
just lock in, bro.
Yeah, dude. I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
And I think this is why I just one, I just suck at college, but the other thing is like there's so many fucking teams, man. And like I don't know what this team really is. We think we know what they are. I just think the NFL to me seems easier because it's 32 teams. And that would be like picking two conferences in college.
That's it. And I need to do a better job of that because college football, I just get involved and I really enjoy it. And, I want to know about everybody and every team. But West Coast teams are hard for me. It's on a little bit later.
Yes,
plus, I'm not in the buzz. Right, I'm in Florida, so I get the buzz of them. Right, what's going around? Miami and Florida State and Florida and whatnot, and UCF. So just kind of picking that. But with college, like I used to do a really good job when I was younger because I was around Marshall all the time. I was around that conference regularly, so I was very in tuned and who was strong and who was weak, who was not good at home or whatever, or even on the road, right, and whatnot. I've kind of got away from that just because I'm so excited to, bet other games.
You just want to bet it all and watch it all.
Which that's why I think this weekend I feel pretty strong with these bets because there's less games. And at the end of the day, man, a lot of these, nobody's a touchdown favorite or more. Nobody is that going into this weekend.
I love that.
For college football.
That's good.
So a lot of good money line opportunities out there for you. Now, the number might not be as high as you hope, but it's going to be, plus money coming your way, I hope. So. Anyway, the first thing I want to touch on was I saw this today when I was listening to VSiN was Josh Allen is listed as a minus 225 favorite for MVP. That's insane. Especially considering like, as well as Barkley has come on here of late. Derrick Henry's still a top back in the league as well. Lamar Jackson was on his way to maybe even winning a third one if you would have asked this question maybe 2 weeks ago before, Allen's MVP Heisman moment, diving in the end zone there, right? The Superman style. But like, why in the world would you, if you liked Allen, you missed it. You're gone. That you probably won't get a better number here for the next 5 weeks probably. So.
Yeah, this is the terrible number. Terrible number. I would never bet minus 225. The MVP, this is something maybe next year I'll pay more close attention to because this number can change so substantially. I think you could hedge yourself to having the top 4 guys all at a plus number, like a big plus number. I do.
Yeah.
So I just went on and I just bet Lamar Jackson at plus 900. Absolutely bet that.
Wow. That's
because
crazy.
That narrative could change so fast. If the Ravens win out and they beat the Steelers the next time they play them and they somehow win that division, the Bills lose a game, number changes instantly. Then I could probably go back and grab Josh Allen at plus 150.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about it. So a minus 225. What do you think? Because I think the MVP odds and that it changes in a week. It's like guys go, oh, he's the MVP favorite. So fast.
Just look at the Travis Hunter situation, right? He went from like 800, 600, and then went to the favorite. You're right, because the reason he dropped because he wasn't playing. He he's kind of a little bit banged up, but when he started playing, he started getting a pick and a touchdown per game, right? And then he just skyrocketed to being the heavy favorite, right? He's like minus 600 or whatever it is, going into the vote. Where Genty, 5 weeks ago was right there in the mix. Maybe you could say the favorite, depending on what book you're looking at, whatever. But yeah, no, I think especially with the NFL, man, it's just. I just can't believe Josh Allen's that much. I have minus 275 on Hard Rock, which is pretty even more insane. But I think Mahomes is a good bet. I know the Chiefs and their numbers aren't jumping off the board, but shit, man, he's a quarterback, right? Like a quarterback with one of the, a playoff team. A quarterback for a playoff team isn't a bad bet.
And the best record in the NFL.
There you go.
Because a lot of times it's usually a quarterback on like one of the top 5 teams, right?
Yep.
Isn't that usually how it goes?
Yeah.
And so Bills lose a couple games, Chiefs went out, Ravens went out, something like that. This could flip so fast.
That's just crazy with if you scale back, like if the Bengals, sneak that Chiefs game, right, get that dub there. If the Bengals sneak that Chargers game, right, some of those ones they've been close in. I mean, Burrow's sitting at plus 7,500. He wouldn't be at that if they got a couple wins there. But I'm just saying, bets like that are solid. I just think something. I mean, I have Lamar Jackson at plus 750. I don't like golf at plus 1,200.
Nah,
I don't like that. I don't even like Barkley at plus 300. I don't.
Hate that.
I don't.
I was going to ask you. I would never take a running back. I don't think.
Yeah, because I want the other way around. I want Vegas playing some tax on a running back because they don't win it.
Yes, right. Yes, yes.
You know what I mean? I think Hurts isn't too bad. I would assume Barkley would win above him, but again, you got to get that tax, boy. It hurts. I don't know. I think at this moment, if you got 900 at Jackson, that's nice.
That's what I just took because I was. Yeah, for the reasons I explained.
That's
like it can flip. I mean, I got my Mahomes at 25.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's a better number than I have. Man, you have good numbers for this.
Everyone you've said has been worse than what I have. Hard Rock's is screwing you, man.
Definitely with this. They're usually pretty good.
Because they've got 275 on Josh Allen. I've got 225, yet better numbers than everybody else.
Wow. Dang. I guess futures for Hard Rock, maybe not way to go.
Yeah.
Kyle Murray's out there, 7,500, just so you know. Anyway.
I mean, Baker Mayfield's out there at 6,500. Come on.
Cardinals are still fighting, man. They're still fighting. 6-6. They're in it. All right. Anyway, we're going to do similar to what we did last week. We're going to pick one game each, one prop game, one total game, so over-under on the total, and then one underdog money line game. I know that one's probably the toughest, right? Because, they're not supposed to win, right? But I'll go ahead and give this stat out to start us off. It's a good, solid stat. It was pertaining to my underdog play. But this can pertain to us as we approach it, just in a general sense for the crowd. Home team and road teams. The record is 95-95.
Wow. You know what I've heard? So 10 years ago, well, no, it wasn't that long. 5 years ago, I'd always heard home field advantage was worth 3 points.
In college, I think that's a little bit of sure, but that can, like Penn State can be more than that.
It does change by stadium, by how far the travel
NFL,
is.
I'm down with that. Yeah.
But the reason I said that is because everything I hear now, the average is worth 1.5 points.
Ooh.
You get bigger bumps at like Denver because of altitude. You get bigger bumps at Green Bay because the playing surface is way different than like the turf. LA, for example, because half that stadium is the away team, you barely even factor anything in. So there's but the average is 1.5. That's what I've heard from pros, and I'm like, that's different than 5 years ago when I heard it was 3.
Yeah. Interesting enough, Phil Steele he factors in how good of a home field advantage they have, and he attributes a point total to that home field advantage.
Oh.
Yeah, a lot of teams are around that 275 to 325 to 3 range, but you'll get like your Penn States and stuff like that be a little higher. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But college football is definitely different, right? Younger, young athletes. We're talking about young athletes, right? Bigger stadiums, louder crowd, right? Some stadiums, the fans are very close, right? Florida's you're very close, right? Texas, you're very close, stuff like that. But other stadiums like Army, you're very far away, higher walls. I don't know, whatever. So
true.
1.5. Not heard that though. That's new.
Yeah. But that makes sense with college. I could totally see college being worth more though.
Yep.
Because they're young kids, man. Anyways,
that's right. All right, we'll jump right into it. I'll jump us off. I'm going to alternate between us. I didn't know if that was a better idea or not, but
I like it.
Okay, cool. I guess we'll do my total last. Sorry, I didn't even see that to make it even. My Seahawks Cardinals total. I'll match that at the bottom.
Oh, okay. Okay, gotcha.
And that might be confusing, but I got it. All right. My first is sacks. Yeah, we do have a sack prop, but we have Saints at Giants is my pick. This is my prop go-to for this week. This is my prop play. Sorry, I'm going to get to my notes. I'm attacking the Giants, man, because, we're on our, I don't know if you want to say third string quarterback. I guess you could say it. I do think Drew Lock's better than DeVito, but whatever. The Giants are 6 sacks allowed last week. We had 4 against Tampa Bay. I think 3 was in the first quarter, or at least the first half for that Tampa Bay game. But anyway, left tackle, we got a backup in for this week. We also have the right tackle is the worst pass blocking right tackle in the league.
Yikes.
All right, Chris Hubbard. So I'm attacking a poor line here. The offensive line, sorry, not the, you know what I mean. I know this is tough because the Saints do not have a great pass rush. They don't. They really don't have anybody. Granderson's very consistent. I think I'm saying the defensive tackle's name right. Brees, I think. Breese.
Yeah, I've heard Breesy.
Okay, Breesy, whatever. He's not very good either. He's actually really, really poor against the run. He's actually, it's weird. He grades really poorly as an entire defensive tackle, but he leads the team in sacks. Nonetheless, like I always go to, there's going to be sacks in the game. This is why I hit these, because there's going to be sacks in the game.
Yep.
Who is going to get them? Right? I know it's bad as the Giants have been on the O-line. Let's just scale it back. There's going to be 2 sacks. So that's kind of how I think about it. Right? If they allowed 6 and 4 and they're kind of hopping around, let's just cut it in half and where am I at? Right? So if we cut it in half, we're still going to have 2 sacks. Who's going to go get them? Right? Carlos Granderson, we bet on him early in the year. I think this was one of the ones we've whiffed, me personally. I've whiffed on my boy Granderson. I whiffed on Jerry Jeudy this year. I know they're 2 different positions. I know this is a bad comparison. Maybe it's not. When I went back to Jeudy, went back to the well, hooked me up.
Big time.
Yes, he killed it. 140 yards, or whatever it was. I'm going to go to Granderson. He's the best pass rusher on the edge, not interior lineman, like Breesy, whatever it is, right? So both tackles, softies, not ready for this, right? We got the worst pass blocker on that side, and Chris Hubbard. Plus, we got a backup tight end as well. I don't know if you knew that, right?
Because Taysom Hill's out. Yeah.
Well, on the Giants side. On the Giants side.
Oh, shit. I'm thinking, yeah.
Yeah, but yes, Taysom Hill is out. I just had him in fantasy. It sucks.
That does suck. Who's the tight end that's out for the Giants?
I have Bellinger as the backup. I'm sorry, I didn't have this in my notes. But I'll pull it up really quick. I got this. They don't have him listed here as out. Who was their starting tight end for the Giants? Sorry, I don't watch a lot of Giants games, so forgive me.
No, I don't either.
I'm
that, also like...
But Theo Johnson. Who
the fuck is Theo Johnson?
Oh, I thought you would know him.
No, and I usually know like pretty much most players, man.
Yeah, Theo Johnson was kind of their starter. He actually was starting to be a solid, I guess you could say a waiver wire pickup for the Giants. Right? He had some 30 yards, some 50 yards, some Tucker Kraft vibes, right? You're not going to get a ton, but you're going to get a guy you can plug in and hope he does nice. Right?
His target the last 4 games, 6'6", 6'5".
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep. So, but now he's out.
Okay.
Yep. He's on IR. He gone. Okay. So we got our boy Daniel Bellinger up in there. I don't know what that means, but he doesn't have a lot of snaps is what it does mean. Okay.
Yeah.
Not a lot of snaps means not a lot of blocking snaps. I think he only had 4 last game specifically. So we're plugging and playing him. We got some weak right tackles, bro. This has it written all over it.
I'm starring this one. I just think this is the right game to attack a sack prop.
I totally agree.
DeVito and Drew Lock, whoever plays, doesn't matter. They're both just prone to getting sacked.
And I didn't even mention the quarterback during this entire time until now. Right? Until Drew Lock lets up sacks, right? We have a backup quarterback in after all that, right? And they're 26th ranked in pass blocking. The Giants are, right? I understand the Saints aren't good at pass rushing. We're not talking about who's winning the game here. I'm saying someone's going to get a sack. Carlos Granderson's the 20th ranked edge rusher in the NFL, right? More specifically, he's a slightly better pass rusher, right? And last week was interesting. I don't forget, but he usually gets a lot of snaps at that position, right? Especially 42 passing snaps week 11, 33 week 10. And he's their second in terms of numbers. If you you're a numbers guy, I just want to see value on the number. He's second in the team in sacks. But they don't like Breezy's number 1. But dude, They don't get a lot of sacks, period. So I'm hoping this number's going to be nice, bro. I think. Does Vegas knee jerk and make it like a -110 due to the injuries and weakness of the tackles? I never know with the sack props. I think I may know, but sometimes it's way worse or sometimes it's way better. Like very rarely for me is it just right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a hard one to predict.
It's always like, oh my God, plus 135. Dude, I'm going to hit this. Or Greenard was like, it opened at -165. I'm like, what the hell? He ended up getting one, but like still, it's like, God. Yeah. Anyway, that's my prop for that game. We got a sack. Carlos Granderson, and we're going to stick with a half, over half a sack for the New Orleans Saints
We'll have to, you'll have to text me if you see that come out tomorrow.
Yep.
Because these never do come out till Friday.
I know.
But
anyway,
if I can get it on DK at any plus number at 0.25, be nice.
Very nice. Yep. What you got? What's your prop?
Let me note the time here. Where are we at? Okay, so Chiefs Chargers game. This one I bet live last week. Watching the game, it was on a solo game. I bet DeAndre Hopkins live. His over-under was 25.5, and I was like, are you fucking kidding me? They just threw him a 40-yard bomb, and he was inches away from catching it. And I'm like, this guy is an elite. He cannot separate from anybody anymore, but you throw him one-on-one balls, this guy is elite. He still is. I think so. So I didn't even bet 25.5. I bet over 40 at plus 220, and it hit. He got like 80 yards. It was one of the easiest plus 220 bets I'll ever have in my life. So as I was looking through this week, I was like, why overcomplicate this? What am I doing? So I was like, if this motherfucker is below 50 yards, I'm hitting this. Went and found him at 42.5. So I hit that. Only available at one book. I don't know why. Of course, this is how it works. I get back on right before the podcast because it was only on one book out of 3. Yeah. And now now the other books posted it at 40.5. So I got the worst number. I'm gonna post it at the number I got. It's still 42.5 at FanDuel, which is where I got it.
Okay.
This is and the Chargers are pretty soft defense. Like they're good, but they let yards up. They just kind of stiffen where they need to stiffen. I don't think they have elite cornerbacks that are going to shut him down. The biggest thing here, let's be real. The biggest thing is it's going to take him. It took him a minute to get involved in the system with the Chiefs. I've heard Andy Reid has a pretty complicated system, so it's not easy for receivers to get in. He's kind of been upticking lately. I just think this is way too low of a number. I think the Chiefs are going to start getting him the football a lot more. And I mean, it's pretty simple, man. I don't have a ton of data to back this up. This is a very simple bet. Don't overthink it. I watch every Chiefs game. They're throwing him the ball a lot more. And his receptions numbers at 3.5. I took that too, but I like the receiving yards because they throw him the deep bombs because he gets a lot of the one-on-one coverage. Like they're not double teaming him anymore. And like I said, one-on-one, he's still one of the best in the NFL at going up and getting the football. So I think he could hit this with 2 catches.
38 snaps last week. That is a lot for a receiver there. And then 26. Yeah, so first half of the year, I mean, it's very inconsistent for him with the snaps. 38 snaps was really nice last week. But he is going against, does it worry you at all, second best corner in the league? Tarheeb Still.
Yeah. Funny. I've never even heard of that guy.
Yeah, second best corner in the league that's been graded. Actually didn't start playing this year until week 4. I'm assuming he was injured. But yeah, he's on the field a shit ton for them. Overall second best corner in the league, right coverage grade is ranked 4th.
It doesn't worry me a ton because I don't think they're going to just stick him on DeAndre the whole game.
Okay. Yep.
I think he could move around. So what's the other guy? Fulton, still not bad. Yep. I mean, the Chargers have a good defense. Like, I think, are they the number 1 defense this year in the NFL?
Ooh.
Top 5 defense. I think if you look in terms of points, only points.
Only points. They're 4th best according to PFF grade.
So I know they have a good defense. But no, doesn't worry me.
Okay.
That should, because the number's so low, man.
Yeah.
If you put this at 60, I'm out on it. But at 42.5,
I got 39.5.
You got even a better number.
Yeah, I'll take it. Take it. Okay. All right. Yeah. I mean, let's we'll give one more look here at the coverage for the Chargers are 3rd in the league in pass coverage defense.
Doesn't surprise me, and they got some pass rushers too.
Yeah. But they're not the best tackling team. They're a way below average tackling team for the Chargers. So I don't know. I always look at tackling, so it'll be interesting to see. All right,
You
cool.
do. Hey, your Dolphins. I remembered when I was watching that Packers-Dolphins game, I was like, Corey brought this up, and they could not fucking tackle that night.
Really?
Maybe it was versus the Dolphins, or versus the Packers, I mean.
Was that the Southern Dolphins game? Was that Thursday night?
Yeah.
Yeah, I missed that one.
They missed so many tackles, dude.
Really?
So many. And I was like, Corey brought this up. Like, they couldn't tackle shit.
Oh, boy. Yeah, Dolphins, man. Mike McDaniel's numbers on the back end of the year. So last 11 games of the NFL season, he's awful. His record is terrible.
It's so interesting.
He's a hot starter, but he's not a good finisher at all.
It's so interesting.
It
like
is.
People think he's like a brilliant mind.
Nope.
Do teams catch on?
Yep,
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know. Okay, anyway, we'll hit. Let's go to the underdog section.
Okay.
Sorry, I'll start us off here. I'll do the Bears at 49ers underdog spot. Can't keep us rolling here. We'll do the totals last. Mine is Chicago Bears at 49ers. Dude, this 49ers team is not the same. This 49ers team has been injured and banged up. If you look at Purdy's numbers, they were very good the first 4-ish. Maybe want to do a 5th game of the year. Pretty solid. Last 5, not good. Not good. I don't know if it's because of the injury, right? We've been hearing and whatnot, but he's just not the same. I know that, McCaffrey's not. I mean, he's been back, so I don't know if you want to use that. Now he's out. So that's huge. But I'm also going to play on a little bit of the firing of the head coach thing. That's a little bit of a vibe there.
Absolutely.
Okay. Eberflus is just the 5th coach all time to be fired with a 500 or better against the spread record. Yep. Wow. They're 7-4-1 this year, I believe is what their record is against the spread. I don't need to, there's like Steve Mariucci's in there, right? Hugh Jackson's actually in there in 2018, believe it or not. So there's some other coaches in there that, having a better, have been fired with a record that's against the spread that's 500 or better. But so I'm playing on the new coach, right? Thomas Brown is the new head coach for the Chicago Bears. Thomas Brown was the running backs coach at Marshall when I was there.
Oh,
yeah.
What do we know about Thomas?
Thomas Brown is an absolute G. He's a super good dude. Great recruiter, by the way. I'm surprised he left college football. Great recruiter in terms of talent. But yeah, awesome dude. Super down to earth cat. Really liked him. Obviously, I was only there for I think it was my last year of grad school, so I was only there with him for a year. So it's not like I know. Like I don't have Thomas Brown's number.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. He's a running backs coach. He didn't need anything for film. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's so true.
They don't need anything. But he was a super cool dude, very respectful, blah blah. So I like him as a person. That's all I got there. But the Bears have a very average defense. But the cool thing, I guess, it's cool about the Bears. If you kind of look at their numbers, they're not like terrible at anything. Right, if you look at a lot of their numbers from kind of top to bottom, right, they're not a terrible tackling team like the Chargers kind of. I guess Chargers are below average, but you know who is a terrible tackling team? 49ers are a terrible tackling team. You know what I mean? Like they're not good.
Wild.
But the Bears are just kind of even keel, so to speak. So kind of like that average to above average D when they really kind of grade out. So I was like, okay, with Purdy kind of not playing very well here lately, because they're going to rely on him even more with CMC out, right? Yeah. So I'm like, okay. Nick Bosa's questionable. I don't know really what that status is, but I would still bet this if Bosa plays. The Bears won here. The last time they played at San Fran, they won here in 2018, 14-9, and they won the matchup also before that at San Fran, which is in 14. They won 28-20 when they were a 7-point dog. So if you want to go with history here, I know the coaches are different, so it doesn't even matter. But it's been done. Traveling from Chicago to San Fran, it's been done. Okay? And, this team's not that bad. I mean, if you want to kind of feel a lot better, obviously the 3.5 is pretty sexy. Mm-hmm. Right? The number is better. The number is better for fired coaches, right? With I don't even want to call it an interim head coach, basically. The number's better against the spread. There's a losing record straight up. I think it's very small. It's like 19-23 with an interim head coach coming off of that, right? But the against the spread record's a winning record. So I'm going all out.
Are you only hitting a money line?
Money line. This is the dog play. Already hit it. Logged it in action. We're ready.
Okay, dude. I like it. I actually bet it too without knowing what game you did.
Oh shit!
But
Okay.
I did take the 3.5. I took the 3.5.
I like that. That's nice.
Yeah. Because I'll be honest, I normally don't bet dogs money line. I take the points, unless we're like a +2 or something like that.
I agree. I know.
But anyways, I like the bet. Yeah, and like I said, I did not know you were doing this, but I like the bounce back spot. Like you said, Niners, they're just not the same team, man. You kept waiting. Something's off with Purdy. Their defense is just like getting gashed every game.
Yep.
They don't have playmakers. Their playmakers are injured. Trent Williams is probably out again.
All they have is Kittle, bro.
That's it, man.
That's really about it, man. Like
Juwan Jennings.
Yeah, Kittle went off. Was it last week that he went off, or a week before that?
No, 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. Okay. So I just don't see how this team, especially with a team that's just not that bad. I know they're
not, dude.
Last week was kind of a shit show. I know at the end, but they're not that bad of a team. So I'm kind of banking on Williams with a little bit of a bounce back vibe here. One guy on VSiN said that Thomas Brown should be the head coach moving forward. I'm not saying that.
Calm down.
That's hot, but like, plus, there's a little bit of a 10% of me that wants to root for him a little bit. So anyway,
yeah.
What you got?
Nice. Okay. We got the Jags Titans. So I'm going to go to the Jags. I know you had them last week. I'm going right fucking back to them this
It's always
week,
the week after, right? That's when you kind
of Listen, the biggest thing here is who the fuck are the Will Levis-led Titans to be laying points to anybody?
That's crazy.
Anybody.
Yeah,
anybody.
I
don't care if they're playing the fucking Giants. Why are they laying points? That's the biggest thing with me. And we saw a little fight from Mac Jones last week. Right, talked about it kind of in the right wrong section because I made that live bet and he drove him down twice. Jags were coming out of the bye a couple weeks ago, and Doug Peterson alluded to the fact that there were going to be a lot of changes on offense. Now, then Trevor Lawrence went out there and got killed because that linebacker from the Texans is a piece of shit. Which, by the way, he made like a social media post and he's like, "I'll be your villain," and it's like, you don't have to be anybody's villain. You made a cheap fucking hit, dude. Like, you don't play that card up. Like, that was a cheap fucking hit.
It was how he acted after the play.
Yes. Because he went and fought every Jaguars player.
Exactly. If he doesn't do that, I don't know if this is I'm not saying it's not a big deal. I'm just saying, like, we're like, oh, man, that's tough. Yeah, playing football, man. You're playing football. No, the dude wanted to fight the whole team, and then he's talking shit to the O-lineman and stuff. Like, what are we? And then he's trying to apologize. I'm like, dude, it's too late. You tried to fight the whole team. It's 1 versus 1,000,000. Like, anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, you're good. I'm the one that brought it up. It was just, I'm just like, who are you, dude? Like, calm down. Anyways, there's not much to like about this game, dude. This is ugly. But when I'm looking for a dog that I thought has the best chance to win outright, I'm gonna bet against Will Levis and the turnover prone Will Levis. Titans don't have anything, dude. Even like their defense with Mike Rabel, they could hang their hat on their defense. Correct. And their defense isn't even graded bad on like the defensive line, but their secondary is not very good. And the receivers have a playmaker at least. They got Evan Ingram, Brian Thomas Jr. Yeah. ETN hasn't been great this year, but they're not bad across the board on offense. I don't know what's going on like all year with them because they've never seemed to get it together. This one's pretty simple though, man. This is a bet against Will Levis and the Titans. I just don't think they should be laying points to anybody. And PFF even pretty much puts their power rating equal. So that's another thing where I'm like, yeah, I agree. I think this is if you're giving me plus number on this game. Now I did the split just like I did with the Eagles. So I did half my money at +3.5, half my money line.
Okay. Does the fact that if you look at Will Levis's grades, I mean, ever since week 10, he has kind of leveled out and played better. We have the Chargers, Vikings, Texans, and Redskins that he's faced in the last 4 games before that. And he's kind of settled down a little bit, right, in terms of grades. He was obviously atrocious kind of coming out of the gates there. Yes. And with the Jags having, I think I saw it, the 4th worst pass coverage defense in the league. Is that any concern for you there? Or is this more of a like, hey, I see the Jags stepping up more against the Titans than I do, because the Titans, they're kind of,
they're still fighting.
They're still fighting. I mean, they're not a good team. I mean, 3-9. Like I'm not saying, but it's safe to say they're a better team than the Jaguars.
Without Trevor Lawrence.
Yes.
Because with Trevor Lawrence, that's not true, right?
I mean, you're talking to the man who just bet the money line last week. So, because Trevor Lawrence was back.
Because he was back.
Yeah.
Mac Jones is my worry here. Because the Jaguars defense is totally trash, dude. They're a pass funnel defense. People just eat them up. But when you go against a bad quarterback, like, you could look at it from two angles. Is this a game for Will Levis to step up because he has been kind of getting a little more comfortable?
Yeah.
Or is this where the Jaguars defense can actually be average because they're not playing a good quarterback? Because they have the third hardest strength of schedule. Jaguars do.
I know. I saw that strength of schedule played or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. So I think there's two angles to look at it. I'm not running and telling people to go hammer this by any means.
Right.
But as I looked at the board, this is my favorite dog.
Yeah. I mean, what we have here, total snaps here by Mac Jones is 51. Graded well. Actually is graded better than Will Levis has in any game this year. If you look at Mac Jones' last game grades. But also, I don't think the Houston Texans I just don't think they're a good team, period. I know they won.
I agree.
I just don't. I wouldn't pick Texans for anything future-wise or anything. I don't know. I'm just not betting on them is the point. It's a fade team, if anything, for me. With that said, so it'll be interesting to see, does Mac Jones kind of continue this run, or is he just a kind of fill-in backup guy? He's not a starter. He's a fill-in backup guy, right?
He is, which is crazy. His grade's gone down every year.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at, looking at the Titans, their D-line's pretty good. I mean, it's still a solid D-line.
Yep.
So, okay.
But I haven't seen that on the field, though.
True. It doesn't translate into numbers. That's true.
Sometimes I love PFF. We've talked about it, but there's sometimes where I'm like, I don't see that when I watch the games, though. So it's like, you can grade out well all fucking day, but if you're getting out schemed, doesn't help.
I got you.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
All right, next game we got the total over under. I always think these are hard in the NFL, personally.
Very.
It's just because the NFL just gets so crazy in the fourth. I don't know.
I know. It's terrifying.
I just don't really know what to do. But I'm going to go back to a similar game that we actually touched on a couple weeks ago, actually, which is Seahawks at Cardinals. Gotta go. I always think these teams are pretty even, I think, for the most part.
Yeah.
Quarterbacks are relatively even, I guess. Obviously, Murray's a little better. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying, like, production-wise, they're generally pretty even guys. I mean, you know, they sling it. They make plays. Geno's got to kind of – both of them have kind of come back. I don't even call it comeback players of the year, but you know what I mean? Like, most improved, whatever. Okay, but looking at this – it was tough. We got some injuries on both sides of the ball. Definitely, if you want to count it, you know, everybody says to build their defense, you know, and stuff like it, inside out and then front to back. That's kind of, there's some injuries there. Last time out, this was 16-6, so this game was under.
Yes.
Okay. 5 sacks allowed on both sides of the ball there. So 5 sacks allowed on Kyler Murray, 5 sacks allowed on Geno. Cardinals still have their backup right tackle playing, so we got that in there. Both Seahawks starters, we said this back when we did this game the last time, Seahawks just got their linemen back. Their starters that were out to start the year, the two of them, they haven't really blown the doors off, at least on grading, right? So they haven't really blown the doors off on the grades, and now they've lost their right guard. So you're still talking about some chemistry kind of still trying to build and get going. Now the right guard's out. We got a backup in. So we got some injuries on the O-lines on both sides. Right, DK Metcalf sitting out right now. Felt numbing in his foot last game out. So I haven't been fantasy. Obviously been really solid this year. It's DK Metcalf. He's a good baller. Geno.
Yeah.
They pass it 68% of the time, so he's a good guy to have. But it's not a given that DK Metcalf's going to play. I think he will, but he said numbing in his foot. Couldn't feel his foot at times last week.
That's not good.
Not good, right? It's a receiver trying to run.
You kind of know where
Plot
your
twist
feet are.
there. Backup edge rusher in for the Seahawks here as well. So we got some injuries to the O-lines on both sides. We got a backup edge rusher in for the Seahawks. Crazy part is, if you look at the Cardinals D-line, 5 interior D linemen. So interior D linemen, 5 of them are either out for the year or questionable. So I think it's 2 guys questionable, 3 are IR. So that's a lot of injuries on both sides. These teams know each other. Obviously, they just played. I initially thought, let's go over here. That's what I initially thought.
Did you?
I did.
Okay.
As I started to look into it more, I was like, there's not enough for me to say over. So I'm going to go under 44.5. I thought the number was a little too high. So I'm going to see. I don't love it, but I definitely don't hate it. I've already hit it because and PFF doesn't know either. As in, like, you know how they always give like their best bet type of shit on there, you know, blah, blah, blah.
Is this one where it's like they're just like no value?
They don't know what the fuck's going on. And also my favorite, we talk about this all the time. If you want to look at the money percentage, 53% of the money's on the under. I love that. Give me the 50-50. That's what I want. I don't like too good to be true shit, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
That is my underplay 44.5 there for.
Okay. I considered this, man. That's funny because I was like, oh, well, they just played
2 weeks ago.
3 weeks. Yes. And so they're seeing each other again. That was a low scoring game, 16-6, and one was a defensive touchdown. You take that away, we have a 9-6 football game. 96
Crazy.
Football game.
That's nuts. Yeah, I know.
And so I was like, it hit the only thing that scared me was I was like, is this too good to be true? Why is it 44.5? Why isn't it like 41.5? That was my only concern because I'm like, it should be like 41. And so I was like, fuck. But since you're on it, I'm taking it. Fuck it. So I hope I hope we don't lose it because of that.
These teams love to sling it, man. 67 went down a little bit. Seahawks at 67.3%, and the Cardinals are 57.9% of pass plays ran of their offense. So they love to sling it, right? I don't know. It's just interesting to see, right? But I didn't know it was this low. I mean, the Cardinals only have the 20th best offense in the league.
Yeah, they've struggled some games. Some games they just struggle so bad, man. And the Seahawks do too. I feel like the Seahawks defense, they are finally starting to play to their PFF grades.
Yeah,
their defense.
I mean, this Seahawks team could be nice though. I know they beat a lot of teams that they should, and they lose the teams that they should lose to. Right, mm-hmm. That's kind of the team the Seahawks are. But like, they have the talent, I think. Especially if they get the line kind of solid out and figured out a little bit more. Yeah. Their grades don't jump off the book at you, especially with their starters back. I would expect a little bit more. They don't really jump off at you. But with that said, man, they've won every game since they've came back. So maybe that shit don't matter because wins matter. You know what I mean? Like, so at the end of the day, I think this is another fight, similar to how the last one was. Yep. I agree with you what you said. I was expecting this to be lower. So is it too good to be true at 44.5? I don't know, but
I got to splash it though. I have to because sometimes we're just dead fucking right, and the sharps are just trying to overthink it too much, you know. So like, I'll put some money on it.
Yep.
Fuck them.
All right, what you got?
Okay, so we're going to the Falcons and the Vikings game, baby. We are taking under 46.5. Found this at FanDuel. The rest of the market is around 45.5, 46 to be fair, but I literally just took it like 2 hours ago, 46.5. So this one, man, so we got a few things going on here. Vikings, they're going to say revenge game for Kirk Cousins. You're going to hear it all week. Well, guess what? The other angle is Kevin O'Connell knows Kirk Cousins better than anybody else in the NFL. He knows his strengths. He knows his weaknesses. I love that angle. I absolutely love that angle. Kirk Cousins also historically sucks against pressure. Vikings, heaviest pressure team in the NFL. Heaviest blitz rate, I should say, in the NFL. They're going to get pressure. When Kirk Cousins was pressured last week, what did he do? Throwing ducks, 4 interceptions. Also, a lot of people, I guess Kirk Cousins got hurt in the Saints game and took some days off, but said he was good. Sucked against Denver. Obviously was terrible against the Chargers. I again did not get to watch this game, but I listened to like some recap. I love like the recap podcast to kind of remind me what all happened here.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much everybody was saying like, I don't know what's up with Kirk Cousins, but he had 0 velocity on the balls, and it's not just that he was throwing into triple coverage. He was throwing ducks, and it's like he was throwing with everything in his power and just not getting it out there. So. Which gets me thinking, actually, I'm probably going to take the Falcons team total under as well. Because I don't think the Falcons defense is as bad as what they showed against Denver. They obviously kept the Chargers in check. That was coming off a bye week. I think they've got some pretty good pieces in the secondary. No pass rush, to be fair. No pass rush. That's the concern here. But they didn't have a pass rush, and they somehow got all over Justin Herbert. I don't know how that happened because I thought the Chargers had a good defensive line.
Yeah, it's probably in the second half, though.
Yeah, totally. It was. Yeah. So, anyways, and the Vikings, man, they don't impress me offensively. I think Sam Darnold started this year hot, and he has come back down to earth. Once people got to get some film with him and Kevin O'Connell's system, that has not been the same offense to me. And look, yeah, they did some things against the Cardinals, right? A lot of that was late when they were in comeback mode.
Yeah.
Offensively. They did do good against the Bears, kind of surprising. Jaguars, they scored 7 points. Colts, they scored 21 points. I mean, they're kind of inconsistent offensively. So I am betting on this being a game where we're putting up 24 points and Falcons are putting up 17. That's kind of how I see this game playing out. So anyways, yeah, this is, I like this one. I like this one a lot.
Yeah. See, here's the thing, man. The Vikings are banged up at linebacker a little bit, right? They got a backup linebacker in, Grugier Hill. He was apparently in week 12. Obviously, I guess they got their starter back week 13. Now he's back in, and they have a backup corner in, who also played last week and was awful. Right.
Ooh.
Yeah,
bad.
so I'm a little worried the fact that the Falcons pass it 58% of the time. They're going to believe in Kirk Cousins still, and like you kind of said, their D-line for the Vikings not great. Obviously, I've won a bet on Greenard, so I understand that. But
and Van Ginkel,
Van Ginkel's nice too. Yeah, they do. But the Falcons line is pretty solid as well. So this is a tough game. I'll tell you what, I would not touch that team total Falcons under. I don't
really,
especially with the injuries kind of there at the linebacker spot. Because I mean, I think Pitts is over. I mean, no, that's not true. I think Pitts is evenly rated. No one's saying Pitts is awesome. No one's saying that. So I'm not going to say he's overrated. I think he's a fine tight end that could catch the football, but he sucks at everything else. Whatever. That's it. Okay. But he's still athletic. We got a banged up linebacker. We have a backup corner in. And I guess you could say that the Falcons receivers don't jump off the board either, I guess, right? They don't really have anybody no one that's elite, right? Necessarily that kind of jumps off the board. I don't know. I just think this game could be a bit of a mess. I do believe the Falcons are a fraud. I don't know. What do we have the spread on? What did you get that at? Sorry, I can click that.
5.5 for the spread.
Is
that what you're asking?
Yep. I just put it up on the screen.
5.5. Oh, okay.
I don't like anything about this.
No,
I don't like.
You just don't like. You just don't want to bet the game.
I hate all of it. Being in a dome, basically, right? That always sucks. Both teams are used to be playing in a dome.
Yeah.
So I think that factors in a little bit. Weather's not a factor. 5.5. I don't know if I really believe in a Kirk Cousins bounce back game. I just believe he throws it more.
Yeah.
But I don't see 4 picks coming. How about that?
No. I'm not saying that.
Yeah. But they have the number one ranked. Falcons have the number one ranked right guard in the league.
Yeah, but the Vikings are a blitz heavy team, and Kirk Cousins, his passer rating under pressure, he drops significantly. That guy has to be kept clean, or he turns into a fucking turtle, man.
And Kyle Pitts can't block me, so. So yeah, that factors in a little bit. It's just funny if you notice it, man. If you look at the snaps Cal Pitts plays, he don't play no running snaps. Boy,
does he? No. Oh god, they take his ass.
They take his ass. They had 4 last week. I just saw it.
Did not quite playing us up to his 10th overall pick status.
No, I mean that's hard for a tight end, man. That's high. I mean, what was Brock Bowers? 7 or I don't even know what he was.
13, 12, 13. But he's playing up to it. That guy's the best player on their offense.
He's pretty sick.
He's good. You're right. Most tight ends are bust.
Yeah, a lot of targets. Bowers is nice.
He's like kind of been the exception because even Dalton Kincaid out of Utah to the Bills, he hasn't really done shit, man. Because I drafted him in my dynasty team, I was stoked. And
been injured this
year, but like his rookie year, he played the whole time and said he was their number one. Just nothing.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so we'll see how it plays out. I mean, I think it'll be interesting, but I still like it.
Okay. All right. Moving on. We got some college games to get to. All I love this Tulane at Army. If we were talking college conference games, this is a great time to kind of get involved. The reason if you're not a huge college football fan, the reason I say that is all of these games are below a touchdown, right? So there's a lot of good value out there and teams that could definitely win it. You have a lot of neutral sites involved, mostly, right? I know the ACC championship's in Charlotte, so it's kind of close to Clemson. Right, I got that. I know in Indianapolis, right, with the Big Ten championship, you got Penn State that can basically drive. You know what I'm saying? I get that. But at the end of the day, though, it's still a neutral site. Anything can go, and everything's under a touchdown. That's pretty sweet. You know what I'm saying? I'll go through these quick. Tulane at Army. I cannot believe this spread is so low.
Okay, because sorry, you said you go through them quick. I told you earlier I don't really have picks, but I looked at the spreads. I got fucking thoughts.
I love it.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll touch on this. Tulane at Army. Tulane -4. I love the bet. Army should be an underdog by about 6 or more than that. Because Tulane played Navy this year and beat the shit out. 52-0, I believe it was. No, 35-0. Just 2 weeks ago. Tulane did that, beat Navy by that much. Yes, their starting quarterback was out, but it doesn't really. It's the option, right? The plays are the same, whoever's in quarterback or not. It doesn't really matter. They only let up 2.9 yards a carry versus Navy, which I thought was nice. Tulane did have a loss earlier this year. You know who they were beat by? Your boys.
Oklahoma and K-State.
Oklahoma. Mm-hmm. But guess who they came back and played after Oklahoma? I know you don't know. You don't have to know. Louisiana.
I do not know.
Guess what Louisiana's doing right now? Louisiana's in the conference championship game versus Marshall and a heavy favorite. What I mean by heavy
really?
They're the highest favorite amongst conference championship games this weekend. Louisiana is.
Wow.
And Tulane went and beat them. Right? That's pretty badass. And that was on the road, too. So, I don't know. Tulane's 9-3 against the spread this season. Army's only 3-3. 1-1 is an underdog. They're an underdog, obviously, with +4. And you got, any type of extra time versus the option is nice. Right, yes. Extra prepare.
That's the big.
Tulane played on Thanksgiving, right? So Thursday, so they get a little bit extra time this week to get after it. Sorry, we can move on to college football here, but so I like Tulane a lot. Maybe if I like it so much, maybe that's the problem. But
so
go ahead, bub.
I was gonna say I'm on the same side. I thought this number would be closer to 6 or 7. Just like quickly looking at it. The Navy thing's huge. The fact that they just played Navy because those offenses are so similar, right?
Yep. Very.
That's what I thought. So the fact that they've seen that recently and the extended rest, like you said, they're also off a loss versus Memphis, which if they would have won that game, they had a legitimate chance at the time to make the college football playoff. I think they're going to come in hot and hungry here too. So I'm with you. I agree with you.
Yeah. It's going to be cold, obviously, being in West Point. But
I think they play this game. They played at West Point.
Yeah, I think it's a little. It's gonna be cold, and I think the over/under is a little high, personally. And both of these rush defenses are respectable. Obviously, you see that Tulane only let up 2.9 yards a carry. Army's used to playing the run. I have not hit it, but if you're looking at an over/under total, these teams are going to know each other. I think. And Tulane's been in this conference championship game 3 times. Army's been in it 0.
Oh, really? 0?
I don't know if that factors into your thought or not, but roll with that. Okay.
No, it doesn't really make a difference, but interesting stat.
Yep. Yeah. Keep moving. Clemson versus SMU. This is if you listen to any college football podcast, any type of sports betting, this is the game they talk about, right? With the implications of SMU, even the implications of Clemson. Clemson's outside looking in. SMU with a loss. If
they win there, it's an automatic in.
That's right. SMU with a loss. Where does Bama slot in here? South Carolina get a sniff. A lot going on. Fans are wanting SMU to back out.
What?
Yes. Fans of SMU want them to back out, so they're already automatically in.
God.
Sorry, not automatic, but you know what I mean.
That's okay. Sorry. Continue.
So I've seen Clemson in this game. I actually have been to this ACC championship game multiple times. Specifically when Clemson played, I saw Trevor Lawrence play Notre Dame. I saw him literally run his ass off. I beat the shit out of Notre Dame, boy. That's why I always say, and obviously it's so funny, I've been calling him, I think we did it earlier on this podcast, Trevor Lawrence needs to be more athletic. Give him the ball more. He's actually a really good runner. He gallops because of his long legs. He goes and runs for a first down and gets destroyed, so maybe he shouldn't do that. Anyway, Clemson has only been an underdog one time in the ACC championship game, which they've owned the ACC a lot here in the last 10 years or so, right? They've only been an underdog once, It was against Virginia. I didn't even know they played Virginia in the ACC championship game. They were an
Seriously?
underdog by 7 points.
Wow.
And they beat the shit out of them. It was like 38-10. Yeah. So they have that. They're the only team this year to be going into their conference championship game of not covering their last 3 or more against the spread, which is a little weird.
Yeah.
Right? Losing to South Carolina really sucks. I just think we talking about emotions earlier. You like the emotion plays at time.
Yep.
Clemson's emotions are pretty simple. They know they have to win and they're in. That's it. Of all the turmoil about losing to Louisville, losing to South Carolina, right? Like there's a lot up and down. Klubnik's a fine quarterback. He's fine. They just know what they have to do. They got to win and they're in. It's going to be a home crowd for Clemson at this game. SMU, kind of different. A lot of drama here, right? Fans don't want them in. Alabama's minus 600 to make the playoff. Minus 600 bet to make the playoff, right? For Alabama. And if SMU wins, they're out. Okay? So all of that's factored into SMU also being a first-time team in this conference, first time playing in this conference championship game. There's just a lot of drama, a lot of things going on, a lot of things in their head. I know. I think SMU's a better team.
You do?
I do. They're favored, and I think they're slightly better. I do. But I think when it comes down to it, I'm going to put the ball in Klubnik's hands, who's won. That Pitt game win was tight. And I think they win. I'm going Clemson money line here for the kids.
For the kids.
And I think they squeak it out, man. I don't love the bet. I don't, but I have bet it. And I bet a lot. There's a lot of units on all these games for old Seahawks over here. I feel a lot of these games, man. They all make sense to me personally. This one's a little weaker just because SMU is better, but Clemson's also got good talent, and they've been in this game so many times, right? And they just always win it, and it means more to them, right? Because if they win, they're in. SMU's got this drama shit. If they lose, are they still in? I don't know.
That's the shit, dude. If you lose your focus, as you were talking about that, I'm like, dude, that's not good for a team. Dude. If the team's focused on outside fucking noise and we shouldn't even have to play this game, dude. If you are not fully fucking bought into this football game, that is not a good sign when you're 18 to 20 years old.
I know.
And I'm not trying to copy you here, but the reason I asked, because you said you thought SMU was better, I was like, really? Because I'm looking through this, and I think it's going to be a tight ball game. I think it is going to come down to a field goal at the end. But I like Clemson too. Just looking through SMU's schedules, I don't know. I don't see anything. And your one loss was to BYU. Who I'm sorry, I've watched a lot of BYU games, and I've never been impressed with BYU. Yeah. I know that was early on, and Clemson has had some bad losses too. I think whoever wins this game is going to get drummed in the college football playoff, though.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, that's a whole nother. Well, it's going to be a whole nother podcast.
We'll get to there, and yes, in 2 weeks, I guess.
Just the bracket alone is kind of like, wow. Okay. Anyway, probably the best game I would say of the day. I would expect it to be, but I don't trust it. It's Penn State at Oregon. I'm going to go ahead and just say this. If you guys want to just skip to the next chapter when you're looking at the YouTube at the bottom. I don't trust James Franklin with anything in my human body.
Fuck no.
1-16 straight up against top 5 opponents. That's all I need to know. Now, Penn State's in the Big Ten championship game. That's huge for them, right? It's always Ohio State sneaking in there and get a Wisconsin back when they were rolling a little bit, get them in there, right? We got a lot of other teams like sneaking in, Purdue sneaking up in there years ago, right? And Penn State's just never the team that gets up in there when they should.
Ever, right?
This game's a mess, man. Oregon's got to travel all the way to Indianapolis, right? So I don't know if you want to consider that a cross-country travel, but it's a couple time zones.
Yep.
Big Ten specifically has been the worst conference with time zone travels, right? Washington to Rutgers. Washington went to Rutgers, lost, right? A lot of bad travel, and the Big Ten's been the worst conference, ATS and whatnot, with that travel.
Okay.
So
good point.
I know Oregon's the number 1 team in the country. I know they're undefeated, but that factors into it. With James Franklin being shitty against 1-16 versus top 5 opponents, same thing with Big Ten travel here in Oregon. I just don't like it. But
you don't like no bet.
I don't like any bet. I would live bet this, and I would live bet the Penn State total points team total.
Over or under?
I would go under here.
Yeah.
I would go under.
I figured that would be the direction you were going.
Yeah, because Oregon's defense is not that bad. They're definitely respectable. And I just think that I just don't like Penn State. I don't know. I love their D. I mean, Abdul Carter is going to be a first-round pick for Penn State.
Yeah.
AJ Harris probably is too. So I would say maybe it's more of a watch some players, watch some NFL talent in this game, right? Like I don't trust Dylan Gabriel either. I mean, we watched him for years. UCF, Oklahoma, we've watched this guy a lot.
Yes, we have.
As we try to stretch the field a little bit, when we kind of see Dylan Gabriel, he's a playmaker, but I don't think he's an elite thrower.
No, and he's had struggles inside the red zone, and I don't know how many good defenses has he gone against this year.
I know.
And that's what I question because I obviously watched him a ton at OU, and he would he's just inconsistent, man. I just don't like the inconsistency about Dylan Gabriel. So this is a stay away game for me. I'll keep it that 100%. Simple. My gut says take Oregon. And when my gut says anything in college, you do the opposite. But I don't want to fucking bet Penn State. I don't want to fucking bet Penn State.
What at 16 you ain't betting them?
I'm not trusting that team. So yeah, I just want to sit back and enjoy the game. Maybe look live if Oregon gets up big or something like that, or Penn State somehow gets up 10-0. I could see doing that. I'm with you, man. Because James Franklin, I don't trust him in a big game. They never ever win. You've already brought that up. But Oregon's the number one team, and I don't think there's any elite team in college football this year.
Yeah, I mean,
I do not see anybody being elite. I think the playoffs will be absolutely wide open. Yep. So I'm not putting Oregon on like this fucking cliff where I say like, oh yeah, James Franklin can't beat him just because I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Boise State was a 3-point win. Wisconsin, they were losing going into the fourth. They had the ball going in the fourth, but they were losing the game in the fourth. They have a lot of. Here's the craziest part. Phil Steele does the last 4 games game grades for teams. Penn State's last 4 games average is a better game grade than Oregon.
Ooh.
Yeah. That, in fact, I didn't even bet it because I don't care. I'm just not. All right, moving on. Georgia versus Texas. I don't know if this is too good to be true for me. I have seen Georgia play a couple of games this year.
I'm very interested how you feel about this.
Watching the game. I just... maybe I'm missing it, right? I just don't think Georgia's that good of a team. I just don't see it. When I watch them, they are above average-ish, and that's it, right? They've had injuries at running back, right? Etienne's been banged up. Travis Etienne's brother, been banged up a lot. Now, they do have a nice freshman, right, that's been running the ball for them. But I just they lead the NCAA in drops. A 5-star, right, receivers, they lead the NCAA in drops. Carson Beck, I mean, listen, if you're a Heisman candidate, you can't lead in drops. Your team. No. You got, I understand. We talked about this. I think I texted you. Drew Lock slings it. He does. He has a nice arm. I think he does. He throws it too hard. Throws the ball too hard.
He doesn't know how to put touch on balls.
Nope. Doesn't know how to put touch on balls at all. He slings that, kind of has that like quick side release Drew Lock does. I can't believe I'm comparing Drew Lock to Carson Beck. This is weird. Anyway, I'm just saying, I watched Carson Beck play. I don't think his ball's that bad. It's just there's a shit ton of drops. Just guys just drop balls. That's not good. And you're a big revenge guy, right? What emotions and revenge? I mean, I think this is all day, bro. I just see Texas winning this. I don't understand how they don't. I just don't understand it. I just don't understand how they don't. They could run the ball to control it. I understand that Carson Beck's played better since he kind of had that lull a few weeks ago. He's gotten a little bit better. They're still dropping footballs. I don't know if you watched you didn't watch it, but the UMass game, they scored some fucking points, boy.
I saw the score.
The first quarter, bro, I was like, is this going to be something? Now, obviously, it didn't be, but like I'm just saying, they had big plays on them, let up big plays. They let big runs. They let up big runs to UMass. Like, and I was at home. I know Kirby at home's not the bet. I get that. I'm just saying, like, I know Texas's kind of strength of schedule is a little worrisome. Like, I get that, but Texas is a better team. I don't believe this might be the game that bites me, to be honest. Like, because
have you bet Texas then?
Yes, 2.5. It's the best bet.
Oh, it's a best bet too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, go ahead. Sorry, finish.
No, I'm just saying. I mean, strengths of schedule played. I mean, PFF has it 13th as Texas and 21st for Georgia. I don't know. This team is just not that good. Carson Beck's not that good. Passer rating under pressure is 53.2. Yeah, I don't know. And that's the thing. Like, if the shit gets sideways for Texas, let's put Arch Manning in as well.
Just like they did against last time versus Georgia.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just they got over the hump there with the emotional game versus A&M, right?
Yeah.
I understand Florida was severely handicapped at the time they played that game, right? It's not the same Florida team we know now with Lagway and all that, because Lagway was out for that game, right? And a lot of people are saying, well, they killed Florida, and Florida's good now. Well, they had a third string. Well, he was a backup at Yale, the third string for them, right, playing. So I don't know, man. Their revenge is huge here. They kind of got beat 30-15. I like Texas in this matchup a lot. I think, if you want to look at it, obviously Oregon being undefeated, I think Texas is right there with them. Like you said, though, there's not a great team. But what you got?
Texas defense is really good, man.
Yes.
Very good. Like, I just looking at their lineup too.
The best defense in the country.
Is it the best defense? Is it the best
in terms of rank?
Country?
Okay.
I was just thinking about what I'm seeing on TV. Like, they just shut teams down.
Yep.
They're really good. So I was more considering attacking a total.
Okay.
If I want to attack something in this game. Just because I don't know if the matchup, that first game, like, I thought Georgia sucked going into the first game. And then they beat the piss off Texas, kind of. And it's like they played so good that game. And was that just like a spot? Was that just a spot for Georgia? Or is there a matchup? And I'm not smart enough to know those things. I'm not. But what I will say is I think you're right. Like, you texted about the receivers. They grade poor for Georgia. Texas, good defense. Offensively, Texas has not impressed me the last 4 weeks now. Like, they seem to have it rolling for a little bit, and they've kind of really slowed down. So for me, only bet I have an interest on this game is the under 49.5. That's it.
Under 49.5. Okay.
I'm too scared to bet the spread or the money line.
Okay.
I am. I get the revenge thing though. I think this could be a spot maybe where I bet Texas live if they get down. But I don't get the last game. And that just scares me. It's the matchup potential that scares me here.
Yeah,
that's the only thing holding me off, because I like the revenge factor, like you said. I think Texas looks way better than Georgia does, way better. But the line 2.5, that kind of makes me nervous, 2 or 3. So I'd rather just play the under and just hope for a low scoring game.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't really seen any type of, we never did, Heisman moment from Quinn Ewers, right?
No, not season. At all.
This could be the time that he really kind of shows it, right? They're going to need him, I think, here with this, because they only averaged 1.1 yards a carry. When you average that poor rushing, that's play calling as well, right? I understand being dominated at the line. I get that. But at the same time,
they were all last game.
1.1. Come on. Like, that's play calling as well. You ain't fooling nobody.
Yeah, true.
You're dominated at the line, and you ain't fooling them either. Right? They know exactly what you're doing. So Steve Sarkisian's a beast offensively. Right?
He does drop some really good shit.
I expect a rebound here from that. I will be shocked if they don't win. This is a huge drop the ball for the Longhorns here if they don't win it.
Really?
Yeah. This is big for them, in my opinion. They're better. They should beat them. And honestly, they're a top 3 team in the country, so this just says they should win. So be interested to see how it shakes out for sure.
Okay.
But all right, well, that's all we got. I don't think I had another one. I did. Marshall does play. Oh yeah, teams with the same opponent. Yeah, did you see how many teams there are that are doing that for college football?
What is it? Say it again.
Teams with the same opponent in their conference championship game. UNLV, Boise State played each other earlier this year. UNLV lost by 5. Jacksonville State, Western Kentucky, which is crazier. They played last week. Did you know that?
Yeah, that sucks.
Jacksonville State and Western Kentucky played last week, and Jacksonville State lost on a 50-yard field goal. They were winning, and they lost on it.
And college, too.
In college.
Who's favored?
Jacksonville State. Last I saw was 4.5.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I like Jacksonville State a lot, but not by that much.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I do expect them to win.
It's tough playing 2 weeks in a row.
2 weeks in a row, man.
That's really tough.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a crap. I don't know. Because Jacksonville State was going to win until they didn't. Ohio versus Miami of Ohio. Ohio lost by 10. MAC championship. Another tidbit on the MAC championship. 10 plus years, there's not been a back-to-back champion in the MAC. So Toledo, Miami of Ohio, last year was the MAC championship game. Miami of Ohio beat Toledo. Toledo was the favorite. Miami of Ohio beat them. They have a chance to be the first back-to-back in over 10 years.
That's kind of crazy.
Yeah. So, but here's another crazy thing. Ohio, Frank Solich, they were a very good team. A perennial bowl team, Ohio usually is, right? Obviously versus Marshall, right? There's a rivalry there. The MAC, right, when they were battling. Ohio hasn't won the MAC since 1968. Yeah, MAC's always great with parody, man. It's a shit show every time.
Maction.
It is, dude. I know it's small towns in Ohio and shit like that.
Yeah.
And Michigan, right? Western Michigan and all that. But man, it's good football in terms of just craziness, parody.
Good parody, too.
Good parody.
Yeah.
And Texas, Georgia. Texas lost by 15. So there's 4 games where the teams, have played each other earlier this year.
And we almost got a 5th with Oregon, Ohio State. If Ohio State had shit on their leg, we would have had 5.
Exactly. So
yeah,
pretty nuts to see how it all transpires there with for the future. But anyway, as do championships games even stay around here with SMU 91 to play? I don't even know.
God, that's pathetic. I'm sorry.
Anyway, let's flash some best bets here. We got some best bets. I will flash mine up first. Let me get it going on the slideshow. If you're watching on the video portion, there we go. Tulane and Ormond. I love Tulane -4, as well as pretty much as the Texas -2.5. Tulane should be more of a 6-pointer. Texas just has to win. The times are wrong. There's no 2 p.m. Eastern on the Texas game, guarantee it. I don't even know how to put that there.
It's 2 p.m. Mountain Time.
Maybe. That's right.
I didn't know it is. It is 2 p.m.
Hell yeah. There we go. MT. Chicago Bears money line. I'm going to go with the best bet on it. I like
taking a money line for the best bet.
I got to get this
points.
ROI up, man. The sack props have been kicking my ass there with the minuses, going on. And then Carlos Granderson, half a sack. I do like that.
That was a really good one. You talked me into that
Saints
one.
at Giants.
Very good one.
Yeah, Saints at Carlos Granderson there. And there's mine. I'm going with the ones I talked about this week.
Do you see Tulane moving up at all? The point spread?
I would like to say yes, because I don't see any money on Auburn. But I would look at
Our Army.
Yes, sorry, Auburn. Sorry. I've been on a big Auburn guy here last few weeks. But yeah, I would definitely check out PFF at that. But you know how that goes. I mean, public could sweep in, be like, America, go with Army, so you might get a half-point spread swing there on the public. I don't know.
Yeah. Nah, I just wonder if people are like waiting, like sharps are waiting.
I do expect that to get higher. But
yeah, I could see that.
I got Marshall.
That's where I'm thinking I should probably take the 5 now. Like I'm not going to get a better value, I don't think.
Yeah,
that's why I asked. Yeah.
What you got?
Jaguars. So I am taking the +3.5, even though they're my money line dog pick. I still like the points way too much. Personally, I bet both. Same as Eagles last week. Half money line, half on the spread. Falcons, Vikings under 46.5. Ox does not agree. That's all right. I'm still rolling with it. DeAndre Hopkins over 42.5. Talked about it. Not a lot of data. This is simply a Phil bet. This is a bet watching the Chiefs, thinking they're going to continue to get him more and more involved. And then we're going to go back to a teaser.
Oh, boy.
The losing teasers. We're going to hit
God,
it again.
You never stop. You never stop.
I will never stop teasers. I like them too much. This week we got the Seahawks +8.5 versus the Cardinals. Now, we talked about this. You said it's going to be a grinding game. That's going to be a grinding game.
It will.
I don't think we get a blowout. And then I'm actually shocking myself. I'm going to take the Steelers with the other leg. They're 6.5, so I'm getting them down to half a point.
Oh, I love the Steelers here.
Well, I was going to say, I know the Browns beat them. Browns are coming off 2 emotional games. One, that game versus the Steelers.
Well, yeah, snow game. Yeah.
The snow game, which was awesome. And it was awesome. The Broncos game was fucking awesome too, honestly.
Yeah.
And it kills me to bet against Jameis. Love that guy. He'd be my MVP, but I wish I had odds on him doing it. Love it. Or comeback player of the year. Fucking book it. Jameis, baby.
Why not that?
Yeah, well, yeah. Why didn't we think about that? So, anyways, Seahawks Steelers. That's my teaser leg. Listen, now don't listen to me. That's it. That's it.
Oh man, I do love the Steelers bet a lot. I mean, it's a division game. They split it. They always split, right? The Steelers are better, and they were gonna win the snow game.
Yeah,
they were gonna win, and then they didn't.
Yeah,
Jameis
and I just think Browns get up in certain spots, and then other spots when they don't want to get up, they just kind of fucking fold.
Well, they can't run.
I think they fold.
They can't run the ball, so
no, they can't. Nick Chubb, oof.
Like, dude, you got Jameis throwing 40 times a game.
Gosh, I'm so mad I didn't take his attempts over in that Broncos game. I saw it too, and it was 34.5, and I'm like, that's too low. I was working. I'm going to come back and take that. And then he throws 50 fucking times.
Yep.
I was like, God.
You're not going to win. I mean, I love Jameis, but come on. You got to run the football to control the game here. Come on.
Yes.
Chubb ain't right. I don't know. All right, well, that's all we got for this time, and we'll catch you on next time. See you.